Rebuilding the walls. There's so many interesting things here. Talk about Artaxerxes a bit. He was the king of Persia. Now, he was the son of Xerxes, the one who married Esther. In these stories about Ezra and Nehemiah, it seems like the king of Persia is kind of passive about all of this. Ezra wanted to go, well, okay, I guess you can go. Nehemiah wanted to go, that's fine, you can go. That's not the way it was at all. Artaxerxes was very conscious of what was going on, and he had an agenda. You see, his father had gone to Greece and had lost the battle there. So Greece was mounting their forces. They were even helping Egypt to become more rebellious. So you had Greece up here, you had Egypt down there, and then the nations, or the people groups around Judah were restless, and that whole area was just of great concern. And so Artaxerxes, knowing the history of Judah and knowing that Jerusalem had always been a rebellious city, he actually was the one that was keeping the walls from being built. He had sent Ezra there. When Ezra wanted to go, he definitely said it was fine because Ezra could go and establish law and order there. And that's what he wanted. And he knew Ezra was loyal to Persia as well as to his God. So he had gone there. He had established law and he had order. But Artaxerxes lacked a governor, a political figure. Ezra was not that person. So he still was not willing for the walls to be built. And then up comes Nehemiah. Nehemiah was his cupbearer, but that was kind of like his chief of staff. He organized things around the palace, social events and food and catering and all that kind of stuff. And he knew he was an organizer, a man of character. So he thought this might be the one. So he agrees to let Nehemiah go. Nehemiah was asking, and he was just agreeing. And sure enough, he was able to go, and in that case, now he's got someone that establishes law and order, and he's got a governor. So he allows him to rebuild the walls. Now, what does this do? What does this do for Persia? Well, a walled Jerusalem gives, with a loyal governor, and with judges and law, a walled Jerusalem gives Persia a fortress. He even refers to it as a fortress, a citadel, where Persian troops could actually be housed there to keep law and to keep order of the various nations around about. It also became a center for taxation. They're able to tax the people in the surrounding area. And meanwhile, Ezra and Nehemiah could keep that balance of national pride and loyalty to Persia. Well, that's a little bit of the political background. Of course, God worked all of these things out because it was His will for this to be done. Just a couple other thoughts about this story. When Babylon had taken the people off the land, they were deported in 3 different sections, 3 different times. Now you have them coming back in 3 different stages. Nehemiah being the 3rd. So this is the 3rd one. Also, Jerusalem was now back at the smaller size that David and Solomon knew. It had grown bigger and bigger, especially under Hezekiah. And now it was back to the original size, which includes the temple site. As I said, this is the last story in the Old Testament chronologically. we now have 400 years before the New Testament. And our next story will actually be in the New Testament. But in this 400 years, you have interesting time. You have Alexander Great is the big happening. Greece comes down as Alexander, and just in his 20s, conquers and finally takes over Persia. He dies at 32 years old, having conquered the world, the known world at that time. This is also time when Greek culture was put everywhere, and so people started speaking Greek, and so you have the Old Testament scriptures translated into Greek, into the Greek language. And so that is called the Septuagint. And that's what was used in the New Testament. So you ever wondered why when they quote the Old Testament in the New Testament, when they quote it, it's different? Well, it's because the Old Testament was translated from the Hebrew, and the Septuagint was used when the people quoted the scriptures. Also, the temple during this time was desecrated. The Maccabees had their revolt. All those things happen, and finally Rome comes and conquers the area. And Herod is set up as the king of the land. And that brings us to the New Testament. Come back next week when we continue on with more insights on the story of the week. We'll see you next week.